All right, welcome everybody. Happy Saturday. It is good to see a bunch of new faces and a bunch of familiar faces. Just want to start off, first of all, by saying thank you so much for all the prayers. As I'm sure some of you heard, my father is back in the hospital and is awaiting a very serious procedure. So we've got family in town, and I had to cut my trip short. They actually evacuated him from West Texas, where I'm from, and brought him to Dallas. And so it's been a little bit of a crazy week, but also an amazing week. But I just want to say thanks again for all the prayers. A lot of you have sent messages and been praying, and I really appreciate it. My family appreciates it. Um, so we're going to jump right into it. We had a huge week this week. Congrats on another massive sales week. Obviously, the majority of those sales, it felt like, came from the tour cities. We were in 6, 7 different cities in 4 or 5 days. It was a crazy whirlwind tour. On Tuesday, we drove, I think, a grand total of about 14 to 16 hours on just Tuesday. And then we did 2 meetings. We left Portland, went to Vestal, New York. Then we drove to basically the Scranton area. And then we drove to Buffalo. And that was all in one day. So it was a crazy week, but massive sales. Congrats to everybody. All of our hosts. Everybody was phenomenal, fantastic. Walt Breeze, Lori, Lance, Tim, all of y'all's teams, everybody that Barry to Phillip, everybody that put together events, whether it was in Bangor, Maine, or Vestal, New York, or Buffalo, or Pennsylvania, Portland. I mean, it was an incredible week, lots of sales and lots of incredible people, leaders, the types of people that you're really blessed to have in your business. That's who's leading these events. And if you didn't see the photos, I mean, we had 40, 50 people at pretty much every event we did. It was an incredible turnout, lots of sales, lots of guests, lots of signups, and lots of new faces. Even the ones that were not guests, was their first time for me to meet them and see them. And get a chance to meet a lot of your team members. And so it was an incredible week. Thanks again, everybody who participated and put together the live events. And so today is about the top three. And so I'm going to give you the top three things that I noticed, that are, some of these are takeaways that are good things. Some of these are takeaways that we can get better on. But the top three things that I learned from the events this week and from the massive sales week we had. The first thing is consistency. I had a lot of conversations with the leaders and even the new people about how important consistency is. And I cannot reiterate this enough. When we left those meetings this week, I told all of the leaders that it was very important that you announce the next event. Remember, we talked about this many times. You always want to be promoting something. So event to event management. What event is next? So anytime you have a live event, and you'll notice I do this every time I do a live Zoom, I talk about, hey, you can come back tomorrow night, same time, same place, bring your guests. See, the thing is people are going to do what was done to them. So the way they were exposed at this point is the only way they know how to do it. So if you expose guests with the live event like this week, the massive turnouts that we had in the Northeast, what happens is those people that came on board and that came, and a lot of you did a very good job with inviting and having guests there. You get those people to sign up. Now they need to know, where did they bring their people? In fact, I had people ask me, because we didn't have meetings set up to announce at every live presentation. And so I tell people the example is, it's kind of like church. Not comparing this to church, but comparing the fact that they do church at the same time in the same place every week. And I remember, when our church grew substantially here in Frisco area, and we went from one service to two, and they changed the times. And I remember after the first couple of weeks, there weren't as many people, because there would be people, and I worked the first time guest booth at church, And there would be people coming in for the old time of church, and they wouldn't be, they would have missed it, or they would have been, too early for the second service. And so it's important that you realize that people need to get in a routine, and you can't get in a routine without having your weekly events, your weekly meetings, the live Zooms, all of those things plugged into the calendar and attend all of them and put them together. I'm going to once again encourage you, and you're going to hear me say this a lot today in the training, is that we need more of these live events where people are hitting rank. For every one of those cities basically has either a Lifer 800 or above. So Lifer 1600s, Lifer 800s, a couple people very close to Lifer 3000. And so that's who's leading these meetings. That's who's putting them together. That's who's organizing them. That's who's orchestrating them. But the thing is they've been doing it since they started. And so you've got to be consistent with your events. So that means pick the day of the week. And I'm telling you, Tuesday, Thursdays are the best nights. Tuesday, Thursday, pick a night of the week, do your live event, and you do it rain, snow, sleet, or shine. You do it if one person shows up, you do it if no people show up. Trust me, in my career over the years, I have done personal meetings where there's been no guests. And you know what I did? I did the presentation anyway. I did it for the couple of members that showed up that were already in. And then we brainstormed on what we could do and invited for the next event. And so you do it rain, snow, sleet, or shine. And you do not need me. Okay, here's the other thing. These markets are all doing these meetings without me. And of course, I'm not going back next week. So we announced all of these meetings for next week, the ones that had them set up. I'm not going to be there. And I told them, look, I have done so many presentations around the world where we've done them with video. Okay, so you can take a live event, as long as you have a TV, I think a TV is best. You can stream straight from YouTube, from your phone. So you can pull up my most recent presentation that's 20 minutes long, and you can use that presentation. You introduce me, you talk about Bryte Lyfe, you welcome everybody, show the YouTube video, and then do some testimonials. And if you don't have live testimonials, go to the Facebook group, the Bucket List Life group that's got tons of testimonials, and read some of those testimonials out, okay? And get somebody on the phone. Somebody could do a phone testimonial. So being consistent with your meetings, same time, same place. You do not need me to come. And remember, once you get 20 people signed up in your market, I will come just like I did to the Northeast. Get 20 people in your market signed up. I will book the next flight out. That's all it takes. You want me to come spend a couple days with you, work in your market, do a lot of meetings, meet your team, strategize, maybe do some training. All you have to do is put 20 people in your market and I'll be there, okay? So point number one of the top three, consistency, okay? Point number two, urgency, right? Now, we talked about this a little bit last week, urgency. And I gave you the example in the previous training about how I talked to a young lady who, was thinking about missing the breakthrough event in Miami because of a baby shower. And I talked a lot about the events this week and how you needed to make it life or death. And here's the thing, this is a very timely subject for me today because obviously my father has been facing health challenges for the last 15 years with his heart. He's had 4 heart attacks, 4 major ones. He's had multiple stents. He has been on a defibrillator, a built-in defibrillator, and a pacemaker for years. And we've been dealing with this. And so as these last few months have been really bad for him health-wise, and he's at the, they told him when he had his 3rd major heart attack and they put in the defibrillator that, with this, machine and it was down to 18% heart function, that the doctor said, I think you could live like this for 5 to 10 years with 18% heart function. That's considered total heart failure. And so I've been in a lot of these meetings with doctors, and that was 15 years ago. So we have had some amazing opportunities. I got a chance to take my entire family to Mexico on a vacation to my home in Mexico a couple years ago, and he came, and it was his first time in Mexico. And we were talking about that trip whenever I was in the hospital with him, and we've been talking about a lot of things. And I think it's very easy for people to just expect to wake up tomorrow. It's just we God is so good that we literally have this amazing world and life. And you wake up and you take it for granted. And I myself am as guilty of that as anybody else, and we put things off. We make excuses. We make excuses for ourselves. We make excuses for our decisions. Um, but we don't have urgency, and we take life for granted, and the fact that we're going to have more years, we're going to have more months, we're going to have more weeks. We take these things for granted, and because of that, taking all of this for granted, it puts people in a state of lack of urgency, lack of energy. People get complacent, they get lazy with life, and you settle. You start to settle for the things that are around you and your lifestyle and what you have, and I think you lose some of that childhood imagination, childhood dreaming. You talk about what you want to be when you grow up, and I love being around children because God even talks about this, and it's talked about in the Bible, how children are just the joy, because when you're young and you're a child, you live in this state of joy and happiness and no worries and no cares, right? And then you get into later life, and it's like bills and stress and work and all these other things. And so what happens is, in my opinion, it takes some of the life out of you. It takes some of the energy out of you. It takes some of the urgency out of you. And we have a very special opportunity right now. I mean, we're those of you that don't quit, because remember, it's pay attention, get excited, never quit. The only way you can fail is to quit. And so, those of you that don't quit, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, those of us that are lucky enough to be still here and on this journey, Bryte Lyfe will be here. I've set the company up to outlive me. The company is going to be a legacy company, and we're building this for everyone's future, for your children's future, for your grandchildren's future. That's the way we built the company from day one. There is no exit strategy. There is no, what we're going to build it up and sell it. That is not the case. And so for those of us that are going to be here 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, there's going to be times when we look back at these moments, these early months. I mean, it's crazy. It's been 4 months. It seems like it's been so much longer than that. Obviously, I've been working on this really my whole life. But then I've been building the tech and building Bryte Lyfe for over a year now. It's been over a year. And so it does seem longer than that for me. Probably doesn't seem as long for the rest of you. But we're going to look back at these early trainings, these early meetings, this first breakthrough that's coming up in Miami. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to say, you remember when we were on those Saturday trainings and we had 100 people, and now we're doing Saturday trainings with thousands of people, thousands of people on the Zooms. We'll have to have special Zoom rooms, maybe even have to have our own video conferencing technology, because it's going to get so big, and it's going to be a global company and a global brand, and we're going to have people everywhere. We've already got people in over 20 countries. We've already had several thousand downloads of the app. But the thing is are you taking that for granted? Are you taking it for granted that you're going to be here 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now? Or do you have urgency? Or when you're inviting, are you letting people put you off? Are you letting people give you excuses and not show up? And if they don't show up, are you letting them get away with that? Because I'm telling you, if they no-show you once, they just lost all respect for whatever it is that you invited them to, whatever it is that you were doing. And so I'm going to encourage you in this state and this time in your life to act as if it's your last day. Act as if tomorrow is not promised. Act as if tomorrow is not guaranteed. And you should be thinking about your future. And your future self will thank you for the work that you put in, because this business is not a hourly business. This is not a, what you put in, you immediately get back out. Remember, this is a business that will pay you probably 60, 90, 120 days from when you do the work. So that means that the real reward, the financial reward, is not going to come for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. And so you need to keep that in mind when you're building your business, because if you don't have the urgency, and if you just take tomorrow for granted, and you let people put you off, and you let people make excuses, and you let people not show up and then invite them again. So here's the thing. If they no-show you once and you let them get away with it, you don't make it a big deal, then now it's not important, right? If you do those things, then you're not going to get where you want to get with this business. and you've got to go through the work. You've got to go through the motions. It's called network marketing, right? It is work. You have to put the work in. And so the second thing that I wanted to talk about is urgency, because like I said, when you're facing the health situation I am with my dad, and you're talking to someone about the end of their life and the things that they enjoyed, and you're talking about memories and the things that they did that they enjoyed, but then some of the things too that they didn't get to do. Don't let that happen to you. We've got this incredible vehicle where you can literally get everything you want out of life. This vehicle can provide everything it's provided for me for the last 20 plus years. For you and your families, the memories, the trips, the travel, the experiences, the time with your children, the time with your family, all of these things matter. And this vehicle can bring those things to you. And it may not be this vehicle that does it for you. I hope that you find a vehicle that will bring it to you. If you don't use this vehicle, if you don't follow the program and stick with it and you wind up quitting, I hope you find something that will allow you to live life with purpose and with joy, because to me, that's one of the most special things that we have. And tomorrow is not promised. And so I wanted to talk about that. The second thing was consistency. The third thing from the tour that I learned was that there are still a lot of people that need to get registered for Miami. I was talking to a lot of people this week. A lot of people had just come into the business, so they were hearing about Miami kind of for the first time. But I want to tell you, and I mentioned it last week, we had an event like this every single month at the beginning of World Ventures. They were called accelerations, and we went to a different city every month. We had to pay for a hotel, we had to pay for a flight, we had to go to the training, we had to pay for the training. All of those things we had to do every single month. And we did it. Those that did it, that went to every training, those became millionaires. Those made millions of dollars. Those had massive success. Their teams had massive success. I assure you, if you don't come to Miami, you will not have success in this business. You've got to be in Miami. It is a prerequisite of success. Proximity is power. You've got to be in Miami. So what I did was I pulled some strings with the hotel. We have 9 rooms left at the Good Times Hotel. So they let us keep the rooms until Wednesday. Okay, so we have until Wednesday to book the rooms. On Wednesday, let me just double check this date really quick. Make sure. Tell you exactly right. Yes, Wednesday is the deadline, and that is the last day for sure, without a doubt. They're going to open those rooms and they'll sell them out, because they're the only rooms they have left in the hotel, I think, are ours. And so there's 9 rooms left. So that means that if you're watching this right now and you have not booked your room, go to the back office, click on news, go to that link. The rooms are 50% off. You can't get rooms anywhere near the price we're getting them anywhere else in Miami Beach. Most hotels are sold out. We had a terrible time finding meeting room space because there's so many events. It's high season. It's going to be an incredible weekend. Also, the Country Bay Music Festival, using that to invite and build your business. We got to get more people registered for the Country Bay Music Festival to fulfill our partnership commitment with them. And so we need to be promoting these 2 events. And like I said, if you were in the business and you were serious and you're committed, you're talking to your subconscious by signing up for Miami. You are telling yourself and your subconscious that you are committed, that you are not going to quit, you are not going to fail. That is the ultimate decision that you can make for your business. And so I was talking to a lot of people in Miami on the tour this week, and there were still people wanting to register for Miami. So what I did was we extended, even though we've already sold out of the early bird general admission $99 tickets, they're still up, okay? But we're going to pull them down this week because the cost parameters of the event itself. And so you got to make sure, if you want to get one of those $99 tickets, you go before Monday. It's still on at $99. It's going to change literally any day. The tech team will be back in on Monday, and it's going to be probably at the top of their list. So $99 tickets are still there, even though we already sold out of those. And there are still 9 rooms left in Miami. And so that was one of the other things that a lot of people were asking about, a lot of people talking about Miami on the trip. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention, and I said it a few minutes ago, but just so we're clear, people asked me over the week, how can I get you to come to my town? Really simple. Like I said, you get 20 people signed up in your local market. I will come. I will book the next flight out. I will come work with you. I will come build with you. So that's all you have to do is literally just get 20 people signed up in your local market, start doing events with video, do some live events with the Zoom where you invite people over and have them watch it with you. Those we used to do viewings of streamed trainings and events in World Ventures when we were doing them around the country, and we would have watch parties. It was like the Super Bowl party. Why do people get excited about the Super Bowl? And they can't get excited about this, inviting people over. You can have a Super Bowl party and pack your house. Why can't you invite people over and watch the Zoom with you and pack your house for that? That's a question you need to think about. What's going to do more for your future and your life? The Bills game, the Super Bowl, F1, college football, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Is that what's going to pay your bills? Is that what's going to, be good for your future? Or can you get that many people that would come over for a football game? Can you get them excited to come over and watch the Zoom or come over and watch the live stream or play the video? Treat it like a game where at halftime, if you've got people over, put the presentation on during halftime, bring everybody into the living room and combine food, family, football, fun, and Bryte Lyfe with your business. Now, I also have some very important news that I'm going to announce right now. Our next Bryte Lyfe breakthrough event is going to be January 4th through the 7th, okay? 4 days and 3 nights. So 4th, 5th, and 6th will be 3 nights at the hotel. And that event is going to be in a warm place. It's one of my favorite places, if not my favorite place on earth. I can't tell you anything more, but just block your calendar January 4th through the 7th. That will be the next breakthrough event. Also, our first convention looks like it's going to be in May next summer. So May 2025, we're looking at Las Vegas for the convention. So just put that on your calendar. Probably going to be the end of May. It could possibly be the first weekend in June, but looks like we're going to do the end of May. There's a holiday weekend. Memorial Day is around there. So we're trying to see if we can plan it around that. And so that is what we're looking for the next couple of Bryte Lyfe corporate events. Had a lot of people asking about that, asking about the timeline, asking about the schedule. Now, these are my top 3 keys, okay, for the week. I gave you the top 3 keys that I learned from the training, the tour this week, but I'm also going to give you my top 3 keys for the week, and then we're going to wrap things up. The first thing, the one thing that I saw this week that was happening is a lot of people were inviting and they were getting asked questions. And so here's something that I want to remind you is that when you're inviting, if people are asking you questions, that's a good sign. But here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to answer the questions whenever people ask you the questions on the invite. Because remember, an invitation is just a request for one's presence. So what happens is when you invite, you naturally feel a little weird or awkward waiting for the answer. There's awkward silence. And so people want to keep talking. But here's the thing. Remember, after you invite them, zip it. Let them respond if they can come attend. And what I do is I always had them clear the time and date first. I would have them clear the date and time. Or what are you doing Thursday night at 6 o'clock? Nothing cool. I need you to meet me here. And I would just tell them where to go, tell them where to meet me. Because they just told me that they weren't booked. So literally, you can't start answering questions. People think by answering questions that they're helping themselves. You're actually hurting yourself because if you answer the questions, now they don't need to come. And so then it becomes a selling and not inviting. So if you ever find yourself selling when you're inviting, trying to give them little tips and little teasers, that is not how you do it. And I had this conversation with so many people this week. Your brain puts off a chemical reaction to words, to language. And so you do not want to start using words like opportunity, signed up, travel club, got in this thing. Anything like that literally could be a one word that you could say and you think you're helping, but you're actually hurting, okay? And so invite, don't sell. Biggest key for the week. Biggest key to get people to the Zoom tomorrow night. Our Sunday night Zooms have been amazing. We obviously have the corporate call tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central corporate call. I've got some incredible things to share with you on our tech roadmap. I'm going to go through the next 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. I'm going to paint a picture and show you what we're building because these tech calls have gotten so crazy. We're talking about so many big things and with so many big companies, partnerships that Eva's been working with, partnerships that Sarah has been working with already with B2B. We had a lot of people submit applications this week for the B2B program. Sarah's been working literally nonstop on the presentation, the content, the manuals, the brochures, everything for the program. And so remember, if you want to get into that fast track training on October 19th, make sure you get your application submitted this week. You have to have it submitted this week or you won't be eligible for the training on October the 19th. The deadline is October the 12th to get your application in, and so you can get to that first B2B training. We've also had several leads come in through the B2B portal at brytelifebenefits.com. So if you've not seen it yet, go to brytelifebenefits.com. And if you see any typos or see any issues there, make sure you screenshot it, send it as a support request so we can get it cleaned up. We found a couple things, but nobody else has submitted anything. So it looks like everything is looking really good. The team worked hard and tirelessly on those websites. And so if you've not watched the B2B training, go back and watch them. Okay, second key for the week, okay? Live, live, live. You've got to be meeting with people live. And it goes back to the types of personalities that are attracted to our business. You're only attracting one type of personality if you're just doing Zooms and recorded presentations. You're missing out really on two of the personality types of the three, okay, of the four. So you're going to get some reds and some greens with Zooms, okay, but you're not getting blues and yellows. And we've talked about this, and I'm doing an entire training in Miami on all these personalities, deep dive. We're going to do personality tests and look at what your personality type is. And this is going to be a big part of our training in Miami. But here's the thing, in the meantime, you've got to be doing stuff live. I don't care if it's meeting with people at coffee shops and showing them the video on your phone. I don't care if it's doing a home party like we just talked about and having people come over and watching the game and then putting the video on at halftime, or inviting people before the game starts, showing the video, and then watching the game, or vice versa, watching at the end of the game. I would do it before in case your team loses. You don't have people leaving early or it's a blowout or something. So do it before the game, do it at the halftime. There's lots of football, lots of sports going on right now. So a good opportunity, but live is working. That is where we're getting growth, because you're getting yellow personality types because they can contribute, they can come, they can feel connected, they need to be around other humans. And then blues are the life of the party. They want to have fun. If you're not doing events, if you're not having, public presentations at bars, restaurants, happy hours, those kinds of things, you are missing out what was probably 75% of our membership population with World Ventures by not doing live events. So once again, go back, watch the trainings on live events. I'm not going to go through all of that for the sake of time today, but live, live, live. You've got to be meeting with your team. You've got to be meeting with your new people. You've got to be doing presentations live. Whether you're doing the presentation or you're showing a video, it does not matter. They don't know the difference. They don't know how it's supposed to go. So get a place with a TV, do it at your house, put YouTube on, stream the presentation straight from YouTube, and go live, live, live. The third key, and the most important, is that with a binary compensation plan, okay, timing is critical. We talked at the beginning about urgency, but timing and placement with the binary is massive because, like I said, you will probably never get closer to a ground floor opportunity than what you're sitting in that you're already a part of right now. Because it's such a special time for us at Bryte Lyfe because it's only been a few months. And so nobody's heard about it yet. You go into a crowded room, you say, have you heard of Bryte Lyfe? You're going to get crickets. Nobody's heard about it. I mean, yeah, we've got almost 2,000 users, but we haven't even scratched the surface of what the potential is of this business. We're going to have 1 million members, and then we're going to have 5 million, and then we're going to have 10 million. And think about how many of those hundreds of thousands could be on your team. I had 365,000 on my team in World Ventures, but I was in the beginning. And I got a chance to build when nobody knew about it. It was like a blank slate. The fact I could talk to anybody and I knew that they had never heard of Bryte Lyfe. That is going to change. It's already starting. There have already been people now that have been invited to Bryte Lyfe meetings in some of these markets where we have a pretty good nucleus in some of these areas by multiple people. It's already happened. It happened very early on. A couple months ago, somebody got invited by somebody who had just heard about it, who had just signed up. And I heard the story. And there's going to be more of that because with a binary, timing and placement is critical. You've got to keep your spot. You've got to stay locked in. You have an opportunity right now to come in at the very beginning of a company on the ground floor. And we have not gone through the 4 stages of growth. I'm going to train on the 4 stages of growth in network marketing. It's called Wave Theory. It's a book that Dr. Charles King did, and he taught one of the only classes ever on network marketing. And so we're going to talk about that in Miami as well. But here's the thing, momentum is where the majority of millionaires are created, right? You got to be in before momentum, though. You got to be positioned. And as we go into some of these other markets, we've got new countries that are joining almost every week. Okay. And we've got a lot of stuff going on in Australia, New Zealand, obviously lots of stuff going on in Japan. You've seen all the growth there. We're working on product development in these markets. We're going to continue to build product in these markets where people come in and tell us what they want. And so make sure as people are joining that they're taking those questionnaires serious. Their bucket list trip is serious. The questionnaires are serious, telling us where you want to go, what you want to get out of this product, because you're in at the beginning in a binary. Most people never get this opportunity. They hear about it from somebody who heard 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 about it from 1,000 people removed from where it started and when it started. And then you heard about it, right? Most people in small towns and smaller markets, because normally it gets started in a big city, okay? And so starts in a city like Dallas, it'll spread from Dallas, and then pockets will pop up. It very rarely gets to small markets without a year or 2 or 3 of growth within the company. But that's already starting to happen. And so you have an opportunity right now to take advantage of the binary and the fact that you're in early and that you're getting positioned in the beginning and working with your sponsor and helping them invite. Y'all should be doing meetings together. You should be holding each other accountable. Not only your downline, but also your upline, working with them on inviting, doing inviting together, doing inviting parties, having live events. Like I told you, live, live, live. But this is special in a binary. In other compensation plans, timing and placement is not nearly as important, right? Because the compensation plans don't pay you to infinity. Our binary compensation plan will pay you to infinity. You will not go find a comp plan that is more lucrative than ours. And so getting in at the beginning of a binary that's going to be $1 billion company, that's going to be a legacy company, and you can say you were in at the beginning and capitalize on all that growth and be the first to walk into a crowded room anywhere and say, have you heard of Bryte Lyfe? And everybody says no. Think about what it's going to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. There's going to be people that come in 10 years from now. There's going to be people that are 10 years old right now that are going to join 10 years from now when they're 20. And you'll have talked to your whole list and you'll have talked to people's list all over the world. You may have teams in 30 plus countries like I did in 10 years. And that is going to be an opportunity that's in front of you only once in your life, possibly. And so as we go back to wrap up what we talked about at the beginning with urgency, taking advantage of what's in front of you right now. Tomorrow night, you're going to hear the vision in the corporate call at 7 o'clock. I'm going to walk you through the timeline. We're going to talk about tech. We're going to talk about some of the meetings we've had. We're going to talk about some of the things we're building, some of the things that are in the pipeline, some things that are in final testing. It's going to be an incredible call tomorrow night, and you're going to be excited. So what are you going to be excited going into? What are you going to have set up? Who are you going to invite to tomorrow night's Zoom so that coming out of that call at 7 o'clock, you've already got your guests locked and loaded. And then when you get off at 7 o'clock, you can make some more last minute invites. How many people can we get onto that Zoom tomorrow night? Because I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge all of you this week as I go through something that has been, sad and also, happy in certain ways because of the memories that we've had a chance to create with my father and our family. But also at the same time, talking about the things that we're grateful for and that we're blessed to have. And we live in a place where we can pursue our dreams, and you have the opportunity to do this. They can't do this in every country. They don't have this freedom, right? But those of you that are watching this right now, there's people in different countries, but you're able to do this. And so what kind of urgency are you going to have this week? What kind of a mentality are you going to have when you're inviting? What kind of mentality are you going to have with yourself when you could get off today and not invite and go watch football and not do anything that's going to better your future, that's going to better your family generations from now? What decisions are you going to make? Are you going to make the quick, easy decision, the shortcut decision, not make the calls, not make the invites, not schedule a live event? Or are you going to get on the phone after we're done today, call everybody on your team, tell them you're grateful that they're involved and that they're a business partner in Bryte Lyfe? What can you do to help them with their business? What can you do this week? Can we get together and do some live events? Can we get together and schedule some home meetings? Can we get together and schedule our first local event, or continue a local event, or add an additional local event? What can we do to go through life this week and not just take for granted that tomorrow is going to come? What can you do today? So can you get people exposed today? Can you get them on a recorded presentation today? And then tomorrow, for those of us that are blessed enough to wake up tomorrow, what can we do tomorrow? What can we do leading up to those calls tomorrow night? I want to challenge you to think about that this week and not let people give you excuses that are temporary excuses or temporary reasons that could cause permanent pain and forever pain. Those temporary decisions can cause permanent pain, right? Make a decision that's in your family's future's best interest, not the best interest of today, this afternoon, watching the game, drinking beers, and not building your business or your future or capitalizing on the time that God's given you already in your life. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We're going to have an incredible corporate call tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, followed by the first and biggest presentation of the week, maybe the biggest Zoom we've ever had. How many people can we get onto this Zoom? I promise you, you are not going to want to miss this corporate call tomorrow night that I'm going to do on the timeline of tech and the future of Bryte Lyfe. You're going to be blown away. And go get registered for Breakthrough in Miami. Go get your rooms booked. Remember, only a few days left now, thanks to the hotel being super cool and letting us extend the room block. We've only got 9 rooms left. After today, it may only be 4 or 5. So go get them booked. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you for the kind words. And everybody that's reached out and everybody that participated this week. You guys were amazing, incredible. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. God bless. See you tomorrow night.